Hello, I'm Ivan Navi and I'm wearing a fez. So that means it's time for another episode of Return to Gravity Falls. Episode 3. Okay, first a little background. This is me revisiting the episodes of Gravity Falls, watching them, giving you a quick summary, my recaps, and seeing what I noticed this time now that the series is over. So, spoilers, if you haven't watched the episode or the series, I kind of have to cover the whole thing. That's the idea. 2. Yeah, I haven't done an episode for a while. When I started the series, I did 2 episodes, then I had some trouble with my internet service. It died for a freaking month, and afterwards I just sort of forgot. The reason I remember to restart it is because Amazon reminded me that Gravity Falls book I ordered, it was coming in. So, back with the fez, back with the fuzz. You know what? I might actually try to do a Stanley cosplay for the next video. I have a jacket. It's dark. I have a white shirt. I could probably do with a nothing tie. That's what it is. A tie. All right. So today we're doing episode 3. HeadHunters. Starts off pretty normal. The kids are watching Detective. I have nothing to say about Detective. I kind of want to watch the show. This show about Detective Duck. Moving on. Seuss comes in and tells them he's found something strange, something awesome. And kind of is. He found an entire room in the building filled with wax figures. Dan shows up, explains that once a while in the past, he had a wax museum in the Mystery Shack. It brought him some money, but then people stopped showing up. He just closed the door, kind of forgot about it. They wallpapered it, and there you go. He's thinking of bringing it back now since, why not? They're there. But discovers that the wax figure of Lincoln is melted. My guess, John Wilkes Booth. It turns out somebody forgot to close down the blinds. Sun hits a wax figure, and it melted. I don't know how wax figures in real life melt quickly, but I imagine something would happen. I mean, it's been there for a while, right? So, melty. So what is he going to do with all this extra melty wax? Mabel suggests she can make her own wax figure. And she's got some talent in arts and crafts, so why not? He likes her gumption. And Mabel is inspired. She makes a wax replica of Stan, and he loves it. In a big opening event, he introduces the return of the wax figures and this one that looks just like him to some mixed results. Stan promised the townspeople free pizza for visiting, which he runs away when they ask him where's the pizza. Things are okay, but people, they're there. You might as well go in and check out the wax figure. So he got some money out of it. So he's celebrating. He has a statue there. He loves it. He adores it. He's watching TV with it. He tells the kids to hurry up and go to bed. Tomorrow is another day of work. And he goes, bathroom, get a beer, soda. He goes to the other room. But when he comes back, he finds his statue decapitated. HeadHunters. Da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, they call in the cops, which introduces us to Sheriff Blubs. And, I'm blanking on the other guy's name. I'm going to get some comments about that. Anyway, the 2 cops who become recurring characters throughout the series. How to describe them? They're not good at their jobs. And they ridicule Dipper when he says he can help them discover who's behind this. But, so, they leave, and Dipper and Mabel start trying to solve this mystery. They find an axe, which was used to cut off the head. They find footprints, one with a hole in it, like a hole in the shoe. And that's about it. They start looking through who could be angry at Stan to do this. P.S. bonus points. Seuss gives them the name the Mystery Twins, which, Dipper doesn't like. It's gonna stick, Dipper. Accept it. They go. Seuss tells them, since they have an axe, Manly Dan, another reoccurring character introduced in this episode. Since he's the lumberjack, makes sense he might have an axe to grind. Oh god, even I think that was terrible. They sneak into a bar and Mabel makes friends and Dipper asks some questions. Dipper gets some pretty solid proof that Manly Dan didn't do it because he punched out a clock. And the clock stopped at around the same time that the beheading happened. But Dipper did find out it's a left-handed axe, so they begin looking for suspects with the left hand. And, well... Yes. I don't know who's calling me and I don't care. Anyway, left hand. But they soon realize that none of their suspects have left hands. I don't know. I think there's less left-handed people than right-handed. I'm not sure about the statistics there. I'm not gonna fact check Gravity Falls on left-handedness. They bring us to another reoccurring character to be determined. I like Toby. Toby. How to describe Toby? He's like a really sad goblin. And yeah. To prove that he did not decapitate any statues, he placed in the security footage of the local newspaper where he works at. Toby was kissing a cardboard cutout of Alexandra Jimenez, a news reporter. Like, full on making out with a cardboard cutout. Yeah, it's not a great image to have in your brain, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. I do not want to be the only one who suffers in this alone. Anyway, Toby and the cops make fun of Dipper. You know, they're like, oh, silly boy and his little computer phone thought he was going to solve this case. But no, they just taunt the kid. It's kind of a jerky move to do some kids, but yeah. Anyway, they have a funeral for Wax Stand. It follows Stan now when he cries about how he was gone too soon. And, yeah. As they're trying to just like, what just happened? Dipper realizes that the wax stand has a hole in the shoe. As Mabel explains, all the wax figures do. That's how they stand up on their stands. And Dipper figures out who was the real culprit. And unfortunately, they're in a room filled with them. The wax figures come to life, explaining they are cursed to have a blah blah blah, curses. They come up at night, they act, they do whatever they want. They, in fact, had a pretty nice life with Stan. They were the plaything of humans for the day, but at night when he was asleep, they had the run of the house. It's like Toy Story, except much bigger and scarier. But then Stan locked them away, and they got angry. And that's why Sherlock Holmes tried to decapitate it, only finding out that was not the real Stan. But now that Dipper and Mabel know, they have to die. Because, yeah, if they're evil, that's kind of the rule. You find out about my secret plan, I gotta kill you. That's how it rolls. So the fight begins against the legendary figures of Wax James Booth, Wax Genghis Khan, Wax Sherlock Holmes, Wax Coolio, and Wax Larry King. Fun fact, Coolio and Larry King voiced their own wax figures. So, yeah. That's something. As the fight continues, Mabel and Dipper realize one thing. They're wax. They can beat them with anything hot. And the fight, like, literally, remember, these are 12-year-olds losing to these legendary wax figures. The wax figures lose real quick. Because they melt. There's a fireplace right there. They use hot candlesticks lights. It's a pretty one-sided fight. They decapitate Larry King. Yeah. Not a sentence I thought I was going to say for a kid's show. Also, Larry King tried to kill 2 kids. Again, anything really with Larry King kids. Sherlock Holmes and Dipper square off, eventually getting to the roof, where Sherlock Holmes knocks Dipper's weapon away. He taunts him, "This is the end," and he says, "Sunscreen. You should have brought sunscreen. You got it. You have any sunscreen? You know what I mean." The sun starts to rise, and Sherlock Holmes melts away, cursing and pointing out that Dipper sneezes like a kitten. He does. He really does. All said and done, they melt all the other figures, and they hold out Stan's head as a prize, telling him, "Hey, look what we found." Stan is pretty happy about that, and that's the end. Or is it? We find out in the air ducts is the head of Larry King. Still alive, still waiting, interviewing a rat. Yeah, that comes up. They actually bring it up in the book somewhere here. Apparently, Larry King... The thing is, Larry King does not come back to the series until, like, way, way later. Like, in the final episode, way later. He's like another cameo for the end. I think he has, like, 2 lines or something. Which is, like, yeah. They bring it up that in the journal, the one... They mentioned that Dipper did notice Larry King's head was in there. And, yeah, just went and looked for him. He got trapped. Apparently, if you just let him talk to you as an interview, it's fine. They didn't do anything with him. Kind of a weird thing to have just in your house, a talking Larry King head, but never really do anything about that. Overall, the show was pretty straightforward this episode, and I liked it. It was nothing great, nothing like huge, but it was nice world building, I guess. You learn a little bit more about these recurring characters you're going to see throughout the series, and they are going to become more important in some aspects. Manly Dan is, in fact, Wendy's father, which doesn't get mentioned, but, it's nice to know. Alright. The big takeaway from this episode is the double of Stan. Most people began to figure this out in the watching it in the later shows because Stan had such a reaction to seeing a double of himself and clung to it and was so depressed seeing it die. It was one of the huge clues that led us to believe that Stan had a twin brother that was lost, which in retrospect seems like really obvious because like Stan was real freaked out about it. And another one that Stan actually knowing about the supernatural, about the city. When the kids sent him the wax figures came to life, he says, "Oh, you kids and your wacky imagination." He never gets angry or upset that all his wax figures are gone now. So there were setups. So I gotta applaud Alex Hirsch and the crew for, doing that well. They really did know what they were doing. The only thing I really say is you got Coolio and Larry King and you gave them 2 lines each. Coolio said 2 things in short sentences. Larry King a little more, but yeah. And I'm glad that even though it's just a little small part at the end, they do bring Larry King back. Overall, it's a fun episode and I liked it. So again, all my links are down below or sideways, wherever. Thank you for watching, and I'll try to do these more regularly. Since more Gravity Falls stuff is coming out, it might give me a little more boost to do them. Anyway, thanks, and like, subscribe, and share. You know the real deal. I am off today, and my glasses are all shiny.